Hi Becca, welcome to our session today. I am Kimberly Holmes and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I have been a therapist for about 5 years now. And so I just want to get started by explaining again to you the confidentiality agreement that we have. Was that explained to you in your interview on the phone?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, well, just to go over it again, the conversation had between you and I is going to be completely confidential. The only exceptions to that is if I feel like you're a harm to yourself or a harm to others, or if I suspect that there's any kind of child abuse or neglect going on, or vulnerable people being abused or neglected, or if there is a court-ordered session, or for a third-party payer like your insurance company, we'll need to see some of the things. But I will keep as much as I can completely confidential. And the fee agreement, I just want to make sure you understood, it's going to be $75 a session. And I see that you signed the consent for treatment and the HIPAA agreement, which is great. And the sessions are going to be 50 minutes long. And let's go ahead and get started today. Do you have any questions before we start?
Mm-mm.
Okay, great. So how may I help you today?
Well, I just kind of wanted to come in and talk about my relationship with my older sister. It's been going on for, I don't know, probably about 5 years. She just is kind of leading a very, in my eyes, not acceptable lifestyle. As a mother and as a wife. She's not doing anything terrible, but she's kind of not doing much with her life, and so it damages our relationship and puts barriers in between us, and so that kind of makes me bitter. And so I'm just trying to figure out how I can work past that and address the issues, because she is very sensitive and it's hard to really talk to her about it without causing conflict. So I've talked about it with my parents and stuff, and they usually feel the same way, and so does my brother. But yeah, we all have a hard time addressing the situation with her and confronting her about it.
Okay. All right. Can you tell me a little bit more about your family structure?
Yeah, I have an older sister. Her name is Elizabeth, and then the middle child is my brother. And so I'm the youngest. And then my parents, they've been married for, no, that's wrong. 70-something. They were married in 70-something, because my sister was born in 80. So, no divorce. They're still together. And my sister is 7 years older than me, and my brother is 4 years older than me. They're both married. And my sister has one child, a girl, and then my brother has two, older girl and a baby boy. And then my dad is one of 5 children. He is the oldest. And there are him, brother, a sister, and then a young brother. His parents were married. They never got divorced. And my grandpa just died last November. My grandma's still alive. And then on my mom's side, she has just one older brother, and there's about, I think, 11 years difference between the two of them.
Okay.
So they don't really relate too well. They all live in Florida and stuff. But my grandma and grandpa were married, no divorce, and she is still alive. He passed away when I was 2, so that was a long, long time ago. So like close to 22 years ago. And let me see.
Okay.
Anything else?
Can you tell me a little bit more about what happened about 5 years ago when you started noticing the change in your sister?
She got married when she was about 23, and things were fine. But once she got married, her and her husband both graduated from the same school, so that's how they met. And then she graduated with an education degree, but never got a job because he got a pretty good job. She still doesn't have a job. And then about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years after they were married, she got pregnant. And there were a lot of complications with the pregnancy where the placenta was ripping off of her. Yeah, it was just ripping, so she had constant bleeding, so she had to be on bed rest at home for a while, and then because it didn't stop, they had her go into the hospital and be on bed rest for the last, I want to say, month of her pregnancy. And she was supposed to be due in October, but she had a premature labor and gave birth to Eliana at the beginning of August. And so when that happened, because my niece was very small, she was like 4 pounds, there were a lot of complications with her heart. So she was on a heart rate monitor for the first like 4 or 5 months. She was in the hospital in an incubator for about a month or 2, and then when they took her home, she had a heart rate monitor that came with her, and I think that just really took a toll on my sister, and just that whole process, not just the fact that the baby was having problems, but the whole pregnancy, and then afterwards, I think had a really tough emotional and psychological effect on her. So ever since really the pregnancy and that whole issue, that's kind of where it started to go downhill with her and I think because we stopped relating, just because she was dealing with a lot of issues, and I was in college doing my own thing. So I wasn't at home anymore. I was in Ohio, a few hours away. So it was just hard for us to really like stay connected in that way. And I think that has taken a long-term effect on us as sisters. So yeah.
All right. Well, we will definitely talk more about that in our session, but first I would like to go over a couple more background things. Has there been any history of abuse or trauma to you or any family members or anything you've seen?
Not with me, but the only abuse I can think of is my cousin was abused by her boyfriend at the time when she was in college. I think he hit her a lot, and it caused problems among our family because nobody liked him. But as far as abuse within my immediate family, there hasn't been any.
Okay. And is there any current medical or health issues that you feel I should know about? Illnesses, injuries, health problems?
With me or with my family?
Both.
My mom had skin cancer a few times. I told you about my sister and that whole issue. My grandpa had dementia before he died for a few years, but that's all I can really think of. No cancer or anything.
Okay.
Within the family.
Are you taking any current prescription medicines?
No.
Anything over the counter?
No.
Okay. Previous mental health diagnosis? No. Okay. Any history of psychotic instances? All right. Any neurological incidents, such as stroke or head trauma,